She was standing there with her hands on her hips, sunglasses on, smirking like she just owned the whole street. Her bright yellow Lamborghini was parked right across my driveway gate, like a shiny, expensive barricade. I honked twice. She didn't move. Instead, she yelled, "You're not going anywhere until you take down that ugly fence. HOA rules." I kept my voice calm, but inside, my blood was boiling. "Move your car," I said, stepping closer. She laughed, tossed her hair back, and waved a fake-looking paper in my face. "Official HOA notice. You're in violation." I glanced at it once, misspelled words, no signatures. She really thought she could scare me with this? I looked at the clock on my porch wall. My daughter's school play started in 30 minutes. I wasn't missing it because of her power trip. "Last chance," I told her. She crossed her arms. "Go ahead. Call the cops. They're my friends." That's when I smiled. Not the polite kind. The kind that says you just made the biggest mistake of your life. I walked back into my garage, hit the button, and the massive steel door slowly lifted. The sunlight caught on something dark, heavy, and impossible to ignore. Her smirk faded. Instantly. What is that?" she stammered. "An M4 Sherman," I said. "Bought it legally. Restored it myself." She backed up, clutching her purse. "You wouldn't dare." I turned the key. The engine roared to life like thunder. Neighbors peeked out from their windows. A couple of them started recording. On their phones. I rolled forward. Slow, steady, unstoppable. Her Lambo was still in front of my gate. By the time I reached it, she was screaming, "Stop! That's a $200,000 car!" I didn't stop. The crunch of metal under 60 tons of American steel was unforgettable. Her scream turned into this high-pitched squeal that echoed down the whole block, but I just kept rolling until the tank cleared the gate. Pieces of yellow fiberglass and crushed metal scattered across the asphalt like confetti after a parade. The neighbors? Oh, they were loving every second. Phones out, recording from every angle. She ran up beside me, pounding on the side of the tank like that would do anything. "You're finished! I'll have you arrested!" she shouted, her voice cracking. I leaned out of the hatch. "For driving on my own property?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. She froze for half a second, then whipped out her phone like she was calling in an airstrike. "I'm calling Officer Bradley. He'll make sure you're locked up before sunset." That name made me chuckle. She didn't know that Officer Bradley wasn't just a cop. He was my cousin. And more importantly, he owed me big time. Minutes later, a police cruiser pulled up. She ran to the officer like she'd just spotted a lifeboat. "Arrest him! He destroyed my car and he's threatening me with a tank." Officer Bradley's eyes met mine, and I could see him fighting the urge to laugh. "Ma'am, did you block his driveway?" he asked. She hesitated. "Well, technically, yes. But," he held up his hand, "then I suggest you stop talking before you say something that'll put you in cuffs." The shock on her face was priceless, but she wasn't done yet. I could see something brewing in her eyes, something that told me she had another card to play. She stepped back from the cruiser, her fake confidence snapping back like a rubber band. "Fine," she said, her tone dripping with venom. "If the cops won't deal with you, the HOA will." She whipped out her phone again and started recording me, zooming in on the tank like she'd just discovered some kind of war crime. "This is going viral," she muttered. "When the board sees what kind of psycho lives here, they'll have you out by the end of the week." I almost laughed. "Good luck with that," I said, keeping my voice steady. She didn't know the board. Already tried to kick me out last year, and lost. Badly. Within 10 minutes, 2 HOA board members pulled up in a shiny black SUV. One of them, a tall guy with a clipboard, strutted toward me like he was about to read me my rights. "Sir, you've violated multiple community safety codes," he announced. Driving a military vehicle in a residential area is strictly prohibited. Actually, I interrupted, it's not prohibited if it's registered and licensed, which mine is. I tossed him a copy of my paperwork. He barely looked at it before trying to keep his fake authority act going. Regardless, you caused significant damage to a resident's property. She trespassed, I cut in, blocked my gate, stopped me from leaving my land. You want to talk about damage? That's on her. Karen folded her arms, smirking again, as if the board's presence meant she was winning. But the board guy wasn't smiling. In fact, his eyes kept darting to Officer Bradley, who was leaning casually against the cruiser. That's when Karen made her fatal mistake. She blurted out something she clearly didn't think through. We had to stop him before he brought that tank to the next HOA meeting. The board guy's head snapped toward her. Wait, we? And just like that, I realized she'd just dragged the whole board into this mess. The air went dead silent, like the whole street was holding its breath. Even the neighbors stopped, whispering. The board guy's face tightened. He knew exactly what that slip meant. Officer Bradley straightened up, his tone shifting from casual to official. Ma'am, are you admitting that the HOA coordinated blocking this man's driveway? Karen's eyes darted around, searching for an escape. No, I mean, not all of us, just... Ma'am, Bradley cut her off. Anything you say right now can be used in a civil or criminal case. He looked over at me. You want to file trespassing and harassment charges? Because we're already halfway. There. Karen's smirk cracked for good. You can't prove anything, she snapped, voice rising. That's when I pulled my phone from my pocket and tapped the screen. The video played loud enough for everyone to hear. Her parking across my gate, waving the fake HOA notice, bragging about stopping me before I take the tank to the meeting. The board guy's jaw clenched so hard I thought his teeth might snap. Karen, you realize you've just put the entire HOA in legal jeopardy? Her face flushed red. You're just mad because... He didn't let her finish. Get in the SUV, now. She turned toward me, pointing a shaking finger. This isn't over. You're gonna regret... I leaned out of the hatch and said, nice and slow, Karen, I don't fight wars I can't win. She glared one last time before slamming the SUV door, but I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't backing down. Whatever was coming next was going to be bigger. They sped off, the black SUV disappearing down the street, but the unease lingered like the smell of burned rubber. Neighbors started murmuring, a mix of laughter and disbelief. A few came up to me shaking my hand, whispering things like, about time someone put her in her place, and you're a legend now. I smiled, but I knew better than to celebrate too early. Karen wasn't the type to take humiliation quietly, especially not with her Lambo flattened in front of half the neighborhood. She'd be plotting. People like her always did. Later that evening, just as I was getting ready to head inside, I noticed a dark sedan idling across the street. Tinted windows, no plates on the front. It sat there for a good 5 minutes before slowly rolling away. By morning, I had my answer. My mailbox was stuffed, not with letters, but with a thick envelope marked Urgent Legal Notice. Inside were pages of HOA infractions I'd supposedly committed. Things like unsightly property and unapproved vehicle storage. All nonsense, but written like they were preparing for a full-on legal siege. And taped to the last page was a photo of my daughter walking home from school. My grip tightened on the paper. That wasn't just HOA harassment anymore, that was personal. I grabbed my phone and dialed a number I hadn't called in years. When the voice on the other end answered, I kept it short. It's me. We've got a situation. And I'm calling. In the favor. There was a pause. Then, the voice replied, How soon do you want the team there? Tonight, I said, my voice low but steady. and make sure they bring everything. By the time the sun set, my quiet suburban street looked like a military checkpoint disguised as a neighborhood barbecue. A black SUV with government plates rolled up first, followed by two more vehicles I recognized instantly, unmarked, but with the subtle hum of engines that weren't built for casual driving. 3 men and 1 woman stepped out, all in plain clothes. But the way they scanned, the area told me everything. They weren't here to talk. They were here to make sure nothing happened to my family. Karen's house was dark, but I knew better. The blinds shifted once, just enough for me to catch the glint of her eyes. She was watching. One of my old teammates, Diaz, handed me a tablet. "Pulled her phone records," he said. "She's been making calls all day to a lawyer, guy's known for dirty tactics, and a private investigator." "Private investigator?" I repeated. Diaz nodded. "Yep, same one who took the photo of your kid. Don't worry, we've already got him under surveillance." I felt the burn in my chest turn into something sharper. Good, because the moment they cross my property line, I want them nailed. No warnings. That night, we set up hidden cameras, motion sensors, and a couple of surprises Karen wouldn't see coming. I didn't want revenge just yet. I wanted proof, solid, undeniable courtroom proof. Around 2 a.m., the motion alarm buzzed on my phone. A figure in a hoodie was creeping toward my driveway. Not the PI, not Karen, someone else. And the moment they stepped into the beam of my night vision camera, my blood ran cold. It was the president of the HOA.